Hey, welcome back to the table. Going to start the second campaign here. And just to recap, the Raj is doing very well. So definitely concerned about them. We were able to score some big points, 10 in fact, just from the end of the campaign. We scored absolutely nothing during all of our turns, but we were able to score some here. And then the Muslims and the revolutionary are in the back. So as always the case, we were set to go, just two of us. I think it was us, these two here, but obviously everybody is back to eligible after that happened. And as you can see here, we're gonna get hosed out of a turn. It was gonna be them and then us. So, so that doesn't help much. And yeah, we'll be able to go first on the next one, which looks like a critical event for the Raj. But so let's figure this out here. So I think for sure they're going to go first. They get to add a Muslim state, yes. So they're definitely taking the event. Don't even need to do the crosswalk there. But for the Raj, this is an interesting situation. So, active faction will be first eligible in upcoming critical event and cannot execute any current critical event. So, they will have a critical event next round, but they're not going to be first. So, the answer is no. So, the next one doesn't apply because they chose the event. Will they be first eligible in the upcoming card? No. Eligible chose op only, or first eligible chose ops plus SA, but the event's not effective. We skip. So they're going to do the op plus special activity, even though this is a critical event for them. By the way, let's see what it would have done. So it would have arrested Gandhi and any activists with him, and then remove any protests and unrest markers from his space, which is interesting because there's none on his space. So they would have been able to arrest Gandhi. That would have been a very wasted action for them. And here, move Gandhi to Bihar unless in jail, then place a protest marker and up to 3 activists there. Interesting. Okay, so that's the card that we're going to encounter. For now, though, let's do them. So here, shift unity -2, which actually hurts us. Because the unity of 3 is what allowed us to score a lot of points during the campaign round. So the unity, oh, I'm sorry, or add 1 Muslim. So hold on. Let's put that back. They're adding a Muslim state to any Muslim province with no Raj control. If the state is placed, troops there go to any city. So let's figure out which ones have. So you can see there's Raj control here, so they can't do this. East Bengal and Punjab are both candidates. So now let's figure out which one they prefer. So for placing a Muslim state, they want one that's not at active opposition. You see that right there? This one is at active opposition. Truly at active opposition. It says active oppose. So the Muslim state is actually going to go right here in East Bengal. So that's going to give them 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That was, to be quite honest, an excellent event for them. And then any troops there go to cities, but there's no troops there. So, okay, so then the Raj is going to get to do the full Monty. And I just realized I needed to shuffle. So let me do that real quick. I have to shuffle all of them. Okay. So now let's draw and see what the Raj is going to do here. Any 2-pop spaces at active opposition? Yes, absolutely. Cubes exceed active non-base adversaries in any 2-pop space. So that's an interesting question, and The answer is yes. Because right here, you've got 3 cubes here, and then these are adversaries. They're not necessarily active, but it definitely exceeds them. Actually, it doesn't in that case. I don't know where what it's going at here. Oh, I see. It's either going to do an assault. That's what it's trying to calculate, if it should do an assault. I'll even show you. So it's trying to do an assault here. And that's the thing. So I'm looking at assault. In each space, remove 1 active, it says active piece for every 2 cube. We don't have any active pieces on the board other than the base itself. It says, oh, right here, active. I'm sorry, I missed the word active, right underneath, right above my thumb there. So the cubes do exceed active non-base adversaries. It's a little misleading because there's no active non-base adversaries. So of course the cubes exceed them. So it's a little, let's look at the other side of the card and what that action would be. It would be a sweep. So, assault can only remove active. And you can see here it's up to the restraint again. Activists and Gandhi go to jail. At the end of the Raj turn, restraint goes -1. And then Congress gets to place active protests in up to 2 cities. They can remove bases, though. Assault does remove bases, but it's just last. So the sweep, of course, would move in to try to take control of things, which, you know, places like Bihar or even Madras presidency would be candidates. I think, you know, that's a good idea. But sweep, of course, relies on moving around troops, and there's not that many to move, although Calcutta has a few extra. But if you look at like Madras, some of these other ones, they don't have an awful lot of extra, but they could spend a few. The assault would remove bases. It's any space with Raj forces. So they could remove this base here, but that's the only thing I can see that they can remove. I'm going to go ahead and make a decision that even though the cubes exceed active non-base adversaries, what you really should be thinking about here is it's active that's greater than 0, right? Because having 0 active adversaries makes this action useless. I mean, although, yeah. So they're going to select spaces using remove. Now the govern, though, is a good one. Like, this is really good for them. So it's sort of hard to say. The assault, though, wouldn't do much. Now, if we do the sweep over here, see, troops in cities exceed troops in provinces. That part is true. So then they would do a sweep along with, they actually still do govern. So I think either way, the sweep is a better move for them. And the troops in the cities do outnumber the troops in the provinces. So we're going to do sweep and use move priorities. So remember, the Raj is probably the most intricate of them, largely because we have to use this and this to resolve it. But first things first, the sweep is going to go to a space with no Raj control. That's the first priority. 2 pop with a protest. None of them have protest. Fewest active adversaries. There's 0 active adversaries, unless you want to count the revolutionary bases, which are technically active. So that brings us down to 2 places. So so no Raj control, of course, is East Bengal, Punjab, Bihar, and Madras, okay? But then the next criteria, well, we're already assuming 2-pop, no protest, fewest active adversaries. This is 2 right here. That's 1. So now we got Bihar and Madras. We're down to 2. So I'm still going down. Unrest is the next criteria. No troops. They both satisfy, they're both tied there. Then Muslim state. They want a Muslim state. Interesting. And then lastly, random. So we're going to go ahead and do the random. And I rolled a 1-6. So if I check that real quick, that's Punjab, and then it's going to go to 2. So that means Bihar is going to be selected. So that's where they're going to, that's the destination. So now that we selected the designate, or the destination, let me see if I can get this camera here. So we selected the destination. Now we're going to select the origin, the space with the most friendly cubes. Okay. Now the reason it has all this stuff in common is, as you can see, this is for the different commands. So if like Congress was using this, obviously they would use activists, not cubes, in their account. So the space with the most cubes, well, that would be Calcutta. So then it says, like this one here is only for the revolutionaries. Okay, keep 1 troop and 1 sepoy at each 2-pop. That's if you're moving from a 2-pop place. We're moving from a city, so we don't have to worry about that. Keep sufficient pieces to lose no Raj control. There is 1 activist there, so we're going to keep at least 2 there. Destination in the city or province, they're going to get a troop and then a sepoy. So for sure, we're going to put a troop here and a sepoy, and that's enough to get Raj control. So they're going to do that, and they get 2 points, so that puts them up to 38. They need 39 to win. Okay, so and it says add sepoys, then troops until cubes exceed adversaries. We're already done. Okay, so they finished the first sweep location. So now we're going to roll a die, and I rolled a 5. Okay, the 5 is higher than the 3 that it's currently at. So that means we keep going. So they're going to now try to sweep to a new place, following the exact same priorities. So that means Madras is next, down here. So they're going to pick Bombay, and then we're going to do 1, and then 1, and that's more than enough to take control there. So 2 more points for them. So let's roll the die. I rolled a 3. Okay, so that's tied, and I honestly can't remember if it's supposed to be a tie or more than. So let me check real quick. Why am I having a hard time finding? Here we go. If it's less than or equal, they're done. So now I can only move troops, which is the red cubes. There are 2 red cubes left to move. So let's continue our priority here. So they want a space with no Raj control, of course. And then they want 2-pop, which is possible. Protest, fewest active adversaries. So we've already controlled a few. So now we're looking at fewest active adversaries. Punjab would be next, because they don't have control there. And East Bengal happens to have 2 bases. This one only has 1. So, for example, they can't move sepoys anymore because we rolled less, but they can move troops. So they can move 2, in fact, and they didn't even need to do 2. So we're going to go ahead and just do 1, and they just gain, oh no, they do need to do 2 because this counts as 1, and they gain control of that as well. So they're all the way up to 42 now. So they're busting out hard, and they're done. There's no more troops left to move. So Remember, the Raj and the revolutionaries behave differently with this whole restraint and how many times they get to go. So here's what's crazy is that was just the first of the actions. Now they get to do... Oh, what did I do with the card? Bear with... Oh, here it is. So now they get to do the special activity. So they're going to govern in 2 spaces. They're going to do imperialism up to a die roll. We rolled a 6, for Pete's sakes. So imperialism up to 6, total shifts and markers removed using shift to support. Okay, shift to support, 2 pop, no protest, unrest is their priority. There's no unrest markers anywhere. So, so far that's everywhere. Most opposition, that would be Punjab. Or Bihar, actually. They're both tied. And remember, imperialism requires nope, it's any space with a cube. That's it. Okay, so, well, we're down to 2 spaces, so they're going to do both. So they're going to shift twice. And that hurts, by the way, because they're going to erase everything that we accomplished. So this is going to get shifted twice. This is going to get shifted twice. We just lost 4 points. Oh man, that hurts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they lose 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I'm sorry, they only lost 2 because only 2 of those were Muslim. Actually, that was 2, 4, 6, 8 points. So they lost 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. We're down to 2 points. How are we at 2 points right now? Right here. And they are down to 4 points because they got a Muslim state. And that's it. So that destroyed us. The Raj AI is quite devious. Okay, so now it gets to us. Clearly, being able to move Gandhi to Bihar, at first I thought was not necessary. Now it actually might make sense. Then I can place a protest marker on up to 3 activists there. We need to take Bihar back, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take the event, and the reason why this helps me is I can move Gandhi here and up to 3 activists, and I'm no longer caring about these state here. So I'm going to take it from the princely states, and I get to put a protest marker, which is a whole action by itself, right, to do that. And if I do that, then all 3 of these guys become active, right? And so by putting that protest markers there and coming active, I remove their control, which is what I wanted to do. We want to remove their control. So there you go. That is helpful. And in fact, I'm going to keep one of these guys out. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to actually take the one from Delhi. Because I don't think trying to control Delhi is not as important for me. Okay. Now, I did want to do something in the presidency, the Bombay presidency, but right now that's the better move. We need to get Bihar back because we had it and we lost it. Now, could I have done an action plus special activity? Yes. The special activity even could have moved Gandhi. But when I move Gandhi with my special activity, it removes an unrest marker and protest marker. It doesn't place them. The restraint is 3, so if I would have done an action, I could have placed 3 protest markers on the board. Maybe I don't want to do the event. Give me a second to think this through. I could have put 3 protest markers on the board. And And I know where I got all those protest guys from, activists, so I don't have to worry about that. So I can remove a Muslim state marker. I'm not interested in doing that at the moment. Okay, so let's play this out if I wouldn't do the event. So let's say I kept this here. That means they still have 2 points. Sorry for the reach here. This would have been in Delhi. This was here in Orissa, or no, I'm sorry, they were both over here. I didn't have any here. Okay, so the protest marker would not be in play. He is still in Bombay Presidency. So what it's saying I could do is I could do a rally, for example, which moves activists up to population into any neutral or opposition spaces up to restraint. So that's the problem. It's got to be a neutral or opposition space. But yeah, I can do this. Yeah, so I'm going to do a deploy. So what I get to do is I get to deploy 2 of these in Bihar, which is just as good, right? Or almost as good. Okay, I get to deploy 2 into Bihar, and then I get to take this and, you know what though? I don't get to place protest markers then. But I'll do that later. So I can't go here because that's active support. Or no, I can because that's where Gandhi is. So I can put him here, where Gandhi is. All right, so that's rally. I'm doing the rally action. And I get to move 1 activist from out of play to available. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Like so. And in fact, because this is my box, I'm just going to keep them closer to me here. All right, so I didn't place the protest marker yet. I'm going to have to do that on a future turn. And I'm choosing to do this one, Ops plus Special Activity. Now the next one is I'm going to do is Persuade. So I can remove adversaries and expose guerrillas. And the idea here is I want to make the Raj lose control. And in 2 spaces with Congress pieces, I can either remove an active piece, troops and bases have to be last, unity -1 if I remove a Muslim piece, or activate a guerrilla for every active piece of my own. So, for example, I can activate a guerrilla here, but I only have 1 active piece. This one's not active. But I can get this guy active, and now I got 2 active in that space. So if this guy ever protests, if I could ever get a protest marker here, they're going to lose control because I'll have 1, 2, 3 active pieces here. That's the idea. I know it's not super exciting, but that's the idea. The other thing I could have done was just remove a piece, right? So I could have removed one of these, but I think I would have had to remove, nope, it's remove an active piece. So the other thing I could do is instead of activating him, is I could have just removed one of those. I think it's the same sort of outcome. I don't have active pieces anywhere else. So this action is not very good. I need protest markers to have active pieces. So the best I can do is just activate a guerrilla. Well, in this case, I'm going to remove a piece, and I'm going to remove this one. So that goes to out of play. So 1 less of them is fine by me. And then, yeah, I have no active pieces anywhere else. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't need it to be active. It's just anywhere you have Congress pieces. I see. I get to remove any active piece I want, and I can activate as many guerrillas as I have active pieces. So, but I can do this anywhere where I have inactive pieces. So like, for example, down here, I'm inactive, but I could remove, this. It says troops have to be last. Or I can go to Bihar and remove one of those. So I have choices here, actually a lot of choices on what to remove. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove the one in Bihar as well. So I just basically took 2 sepoys out of the action. And if I can place a protest marker, I'll get some of these back. Okay, sorry I took so long there. And then I know I like to make a habit of figuring out what these guys are gonna do, but I didn't when I made my choice. So this was our card. And basically they're deciding whether, so they would use the white background. So they would arrest Gandhi and any activists with him, then remove protest and unrest markers from his space. How or why that is what the revolutionaries would want to do, I don't understand. I mean, I guess you get to remove activists, but removing unrest markers is not cool. None of those things are on his space, so I don't know if that's considered very effective. Excuse me, obviously removing Gandhi is removing an adversary piece, but would they really do an event just to get rid of Gandhi? They could. So, and the reason I'm asking this question is that we chose Ops plus SA, and they're asking, is the event effective? And the event is effective because it's going to remove adversaries. So this is going to hurt us, in fact, a lot. I probably should have, yeah, this is going to hurt. So they do this, and what happens is Gandhi is going to jail along with this adversary, or activist. So they put us in jail. And then any protests and unrest markers go with him, but there aren't any. So that wasn't a super exciting round for us. Next, we should have probably just done the event, because that could have prevented them from doing it, and we would have had Bihar and a protest marker out. So maybe I didn't make the right move. So apologies there. Okay, so we were supposed to know what the next card is. Viceroy Irwin meets with Gandhi. Arrest up to 5 activists or release twice a die roll of activists from jail to any spaces. And the Raj is going to go first with the Muslims last. Now the next card is critical for them, and it's going to be on their turn. So they're going to do, in up to 4 spaces with underground guerrillas, add a guerrilla, or if no Raj control, 1 unrest marker. That is a good one for them. For us, in up to 3 spaces with activists, remove any active guerrillas, revolutionary resource. Okay, never mind. All right, so let's start with the Raj. They're going to get another wonderful turn, because I'm pretty sure they're going to just choose Ops plus SA. Yeah, they're going Ops plus SA. And then the Muslims are, they're not first on the next. Is the event effective for them? That's a good question. Release activists from jail. It would be effective if those activists were Muslim, but they are not. So it even explicitly says Muslim pieces from out of play or jail. But that's not what this is for them. So this is not effective for them. So they're not going to do the event. And so they're going to do the limited operation. Okay. The Raj has been deadly so far. Die roll is definitely less than available troops. Cubes exceed all active non-base adversaries in any spaces. That's true. This is another one of those weird ones again. What would the other side be? Deploy. So they're either going to do an assault or a deploy. A deploy would be better for them, but there's no active non-base adversaries in any space. So if they do an assault, the assault removes only active cubes, right? Yep, it only removes active pieces. That's the problem with assault. This govern thing is really good for them, though. So this is, again, tricky because it says all active non-base adversaries. There are 0 active non-base adversaries in all the spaces. If they do the assault, they're going to use remove, but then they remove nothing but the base. Here, they would deploy, which is really helpful to them because they're going to place a whole bunch of cubes. And then they would still do the govern. So either way, they're doing govern. How do I interpret this? I think some of you are probably saying, Jeff, just do what's best for the AI. Removing bases could arguably be good. Let me see what they would select. Let's just go through this. If we did a remove, they would select a space with no Raj control as their top priority. That's interesting because that's not a lot of spaces. In fact, nobody's eligible to be removed. It has to be a space with a base. So then the next one would be twice cubes is greater than active adversaries. So where the cubes are greater than active adversaries. Well, I think in almost every case that it's true. They're going to be able to remove the base no matter what they would do. So then 2 pop, protest, unrest, Muslim state. They really wouldn't get to remove anything. All right, we're going to do deploy. Select city uses place cubes. So space with no Raj control, 2 pop, no protests, fewest active adversaries, unrest adjacent to most. That's what they want to do. So they're going to get 3 troops to each selected city, then add sepoys to place up to 6 cubes. Okay, so we're going to select one city first. The most active adversaries is Calcutta right now. So we're going to get 3 troops there, and then 3 cubes, sepoys. So that's a really good deploy for them. Then we're going to roll a die. I rolled a 4. So that means they keep going. Okay, so the next city is Delhi. And so 2 cubes are going to go there. And we're going to put 4 sepoys, because you can always deploy up to 6. So it's a pretty deadly action for them. And we're going to roll the die, and they keep going. So there's only 4 sepoys left. There's no more active pieces anymore. So what would be next? A Muslim state. Random. Okay, so let's roll. I rolled a 5-5. I know that felt like a weak roll, but I'm holding cubes in my hand. 5-5 is Orissa. Then this, it's going to be Madras. So all 4 cubes are going to go into Madras, and that's it. So they deployed their whole everything. So the Raj AI is good. So now they're going to govern in 2 spaces. Let's roll. And they rolled high again. So they can shift up to 5 shifts, and it's anywhere with a 2 pop. And basically, we're getting slaughtered right now. So they're going to shift 2 here and get 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And then they're going to shift 2 here because they're going after the 2 pop spaces. So they're going to get 2 more. They're up to 48 points. And we're going to lose 2 more. We're down to 0 again. So they're just slamming us hard. And that was easy. We didn't have to actually do check the chart, because they go after the 2 pop spaces, and every 2 pop space on the board has support. Now, United Provinces can use a bump, right? And then Bihar has nothing. So they could have technically gone to Bihar instead of here. Where would they? Oh gosh, let me look. They prioritize space with no Raj control and then 2-pop. So technically speaking, a space with no Raj control, I'm sorry. No, just 2-pop. Then no protest, unrest, most opposition. So they for sure would have picked this one. And then the neutral, of course. So we would have had to have rolled to see if it was going to be Punjab or Bihar. So let's roll. All right, so I got a 4-1, and that puts us in Delhi. And if you go down the progression to 5 to 6, it's definitely going to be Punjab. So we did it right. But only out of luck. Okay, so now green's going to do a limited operation. Any Muslim space is eligible for non-cooperation. I'm thinking no, because we're getting slaughtered right now. But let's check. It's any space with protest, Muslim League activists, and a base. Yeah, there's no protest markers anywhere, so the answer is no. Activists equal or exceed cubes in any spaces without protest. Yeah, that's true. So they want to do negotiate to place a Muslim state, which I think they're going to get to do. Because negotiate says one space with the Muslim League activists and no Raj control. See, that's the problem. It requires no Raj control. They have control. Like, we equal the cubes, but we don't have Raj control. So we can't place a Muslim state. So then it says remove unrest. Well, that doesn't do us any good either. So this whole action is just silly and stupid. We could infiltrate to replace an adversary. That we can do. So this occurs in a space with Muslim League activists. Either replace a sepoy, guerrilla, or protest marker with a Muslim League activist. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we already know they're going to do it in a 2-pop location. So which of the 2-pop locations, of course, is the next question. And it's either going to be West Bengal or Punjab. Let's figure it out. So it needs to be where the most Muslim League bases are. So they're both tied. There. Muslim space, protest, Raj control. We got all those checkbox. 2-pop. Random. 6-3. 6-3 will turn into 1-6, which is Punjab. Okay, so they're going to infiltrate. And infiltrate says sepoy, guerrilla, or protest marker. Punjab only has troops, so they can't infiltrate them. So that sort of defeated the tiebreaker. So we're going to replace this one then and take that off the board. I'm going to reach across the table here, and then they get they're replacing it with one of their own. So that was infiltrate, and it was a limited operation. Oh shoot. We don't do special activities with limited operations. Gosh darn it, that's twice I've made that mistake. All that work for nothing. Any available protest markers? Yes. Select spaces using place protest. This is actually going to work in our favor a little bit. So I'm happy with that. Civil disobedience. But it's only going to be in one place because it's a limited operation. So place protest. Not at active opposition, that's all of them. Muslim space, that's all of them. 2 pop, all of them. Fewest cubes, that would be East Bengal. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the Raj control is. Fewest cubes would be East Bengal. So protest marker goes here, and then these 2 become active. Like so. All right, sorry for all that. It was just a limited operation, and I keep forgetting to pay attention to that detail. Okay, so now we're gonna get to go. They have a critical event. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that, and then we are pretty sure gonna do that. But let's see. We do get to go first on the next card. Move any 2 cubed activists and or guerrillas to out of play. In up to 3 spaces, add a guerrilla or activist from out of play. I'm not interested in that at all. In fact, all of our stuff is out of or moved from out of play. We don't have any out of play activists anymore. We have a few in jail. We have a few available for deployment, but that's okay. So they are going to go, and they're doing this one here. In up to 4 spaces with underground guerrillas, add a guerrilla, or if no Raj control, unrest marker. Okay, 4 spaces. Well, they only have 3 spaces on the board, so we don't have to do prioritization. So they're either adding a guerrilla, or if there's no control, an unrest marker. So here you can see they're in control, so they're going to add a guerrilla. And the rest are out of play, which is bad for them. So we may have to do something else. Here they can add an unrest marker. So then the question becomes, do they add a guerrilla down here or up here? They both have the same number of guerrilla spaces. Fewest cubes. So we did the right one. They would have gone to the other one. They did get to put an unrest marker, so they do get 2 points. So revolutionaries are doing better than us. And then we get to do 2 things now. And Gandhi's in jail, so I actually can probably do the negotiate action, which gets us out of jail, okay? So if the die roll is greater than the number of protests in India, release Gandhi from jail to selected space. Okay, so we can do the negotiate first before we place protest markers, right? So location, 1 space with Congress activists and no Raj control. I'm not allowed to select that space for operations later. I can first remove any protest marker from the space, shift restraint +1. Then, if the die roll is greater than the number of protest markers in India, release Gandhi from jail to selected space and shift it 1 level towards active support. So that's the part that sucks. And then if I try to move Gandhi with Satyagraha, the Raj would have to agree to let me get released from jail. And there is a rule on the AI card on whether or not the Raj agrees to that question. And I know I saw it somewhere, I just don't remember where. It's the Satyagraha. Dang it. It could be just in the rule book here, so let me check that real quick. They have a section for every one of the non-player commands. If Gandhi is in jail, NP Congress always requests that Gandhi be released. If the request is denied, NP Congress will select a different. NP Congress will always use Satyagraha to move Gandhi. MP Raj will attempt to remove unrest in Muslim state markets and shift levels towards support up to the roll result in up to 2 spaces. I'm looking at for special activities with multiple options, i.e. govern, satyagraha, negotiate and persuade, only implement actions as instructed by Arjuna. If Arjuna card reads negotiate to release Gandhi from jail, if Gandhi is not in jail, do not negotiate to remove a Muslim state. Instead, rather skip this instruction and execute the next one. That doesn't help me. I want to know what the non-player Raj would do if Gandhi needs to be released from jail. So I'm at 46 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end this, and I will spend a few minutes to look this up. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. We'll see you soon.